Hello everyone, and welcome to episode number 5 of the Karen Knits podcast. I'm Karen, and I'm coming to you from South Central Pennsylvania in the United States, where I live, where I work, where I knit, and where I get into all the crafty trouble I possibly can. There goes a motorcycle. Anyway, let's try this again. Hello everyone, and welcome to episode number 5 of the Karen Knits podcast. I'm Karen, and I'm coming to you from South Central Pennsylvania, where in the United States, where I live, where I work, where I do all my knitting, and where I get into all the crafty trouble I possibly can. Today is Saturday, October the 13th, 2018. First off, I would like to thank all my returning viewers for coming back to spend some time with me for yet another week. I really appreciate you spending some time with me. I also want to say a really warm welcome to any new viewers who've happened to stumble upon my podcast or found out about my podcast and decided to give me a try. I really appreciate that you've decided to give me a try, spend a bit of time with me. So I want everyone just pull up a chair, grab your knitting, your crochet, whatever kind of crafting stuff you happen to be getting into today. Grab a beverage of some sort, coffee, tea, something warm, something cold, whatever your heart desires. So again, just pull up a chair, grab some crafty stuff, grab a beverage, sit back and spend the next half hour or so with me while we go over what I've been up to, mostly knitting wise this past week. Anyway, so what am I drinking? I've got my favorite cup. One of these days I will get around to getting another cup, maybe, but this really does tend to be my favorite cup. So anyways, what's inside here? Well, take a peek. Today I'm drinking, I've got some David's tea in here. It is the Cream of Earl Grey. So again, it's a David's tea, Cream of Earl Grey. They describe it as moderately caffeinated. So it's not super duper strong caffeine. It's not caffeine free, so it's gonna keep me, it'll probably get me a little bit jittery later on in the day. But here's what's inside it. I can't read this right off the hop. It's black tea, cornflowers, marigolds, and natural flavoring. No idea what on earth the natural flavoring is, but anyway, it's really yummy. It smells fantastic. Yeah, it's a yummy smelling tea. It doesn't have a really strong taste as some of the Earl Grey teas do. But it's a really nice tea. So that's that part. This week, as per usual, I don't have any finished objects to show you. One of these days I'm hoping soon that I actually will have a finished object to share with you on the podcast, but right now I'm still happily working on, now I'm up to 3 works in progress that I'm spending a fair bit of time on with each of them. So my first one, and again this is one you've seen before, it's my Sockhead Slouch Hat. It is a pattern by Kelly McClure. Yep, Kelly McClure. I'm using my own hand-dyed gradient yarn for this. It's a dyeing technique that I've been playing around, or have played around with a bit in the past. It is one that I need to spend a bit more time practicing, because my gradient is not so gradient. It just looks like there's a block of this color, then that color, then the next color. But I'm learning. I want to keep practicing with it. I can't really show you what the next colors are coming up because the cake I had it in was getting all discombobulated and it was just becoming a complete and total hot mess. So since I'm getting closer to the end, I just rolled it up into a little ball so that it wouldn't be as much of a mess and so on. So I've made a fair bit of progress on this. Just as a quick aside, I'm using 3mm needles or US 2.5. I cast it on back on the 9th of September. So I'm making some progress on it. I usually only work on it a few days a week when I have other events going on where I need to spend some time focusing on what else is going on, and I need something that's just a nice mindless knit. So the Sockhead Slouch Hat really fits the bill for that. So here's where I'm at now. So you can see my gradient, it's not really gradient, it's just kind of, let's just run a string of yarn across my across my face. But it's not really a gradient, it's just 3 colors, one after the other. The next color is going to be a somewhat lighter shade of the same blue as this one is. So I've made some progress. It's getting to be a fairly long hat now. My progress since last week, or since I last showed you, is at the marker here. So I've added about an inch and a half, getting closer to 2 inches more have been added on to here. So I'm really hoping that I can spend a bit more time on this in the next week or so. I'm getting a lot more eager to get this finished, get this off the needles, because I really do want to cast on a pair of Christmas or holiday socks, so I can kind of add or join in on the Stranded podcast her holiday sock knit along. So I really would like to get that finished up fairly soon so that I'm able to cast on something else. So for now I'm going to spend a bit more time working on that, and hopefully I will have it done in the next few weeks or so. My second key work in progress that I have is my Rowe cardigan, and I've showed you this probably every week since I've started this podcast, so over the last 5 weeks. This is the Rowe cardigan. It's a pattern by Michelle Wong. It's a heavily cabled cardigan sweater, and I love all the cables on it. I'm knitting it with knit picks. Let me take a look at what I have in my show notes. See my pretty book that I'm using for my show notes? I love it. It's such a pretty book. Anyway, rabbit trail. Sorry. The yarn I'm using is Knit Picks Bare Worsted Wool of the Andes Superwash. So it's a bit of a mouthful. No wonder I can't think of the name right off the top. It's Knit Picks Bare, so it's an Aran color, ecru kind of creamy white color. I'm using 4.5mm or US 7 knitting needles. The ones I'm using are the Knitter's Pride interchangeable knitting needles from the set that I have. And so my progress on this to date, the back is complete, and I'm currently working on both of the sleeves. I'm doing them 2 at a time, so that I won't be stuck on Sleeve Island, as you hear a lot of people referring to it. This way I'll get all the shaping done the same. All my increasing and decreasing will all get done at the exact same time on both of the sleeves. So I've made some progress, a fair bit of progress actually since I showed you last week. I'm not quite finished. I'm really hoping to get these sleeves done in the next couple weeks, or the next week to 2 weeks. I've been saying that for the last week or 2 weeks, so I really am hoping to get these done soon. So my progress now, oops, let's get this yarn off here. So my progress that I've done this week is from that green marker upwards. So I've come to the point where all the sleeve increasing has been done. I have decreased for the underarms, and now I'm starting the decreasing to work onto the shoulder cap. So it's going to start coming into like a shape that's going to round it out a fair bit. So I have about, what do I have written down here? About 25 to 30 more rows to go with the decreasing. So I do have, again, both of the sleeves on the go together. And again, my progress from last week is from that green marker forward. So it is, because I'm doing the decreases onto the shoulder cap every couple or certain number of rows, each few rows it's getting shorter and shorter, so it is actually getting a little bit quicker and quicker to do each time. I put this aside to start working on something else, and got to the point where I was basically, I need to cake up a couple more balls of yarn, because that's all I have for the yarn for the two sleeves. So the sleeves took 100-gram skein each. I was kind of hoping I could get each of the sleeves done with a full 100 grams. Yeah, 100 grams. But I'm going to have to cake up a couple more hanks of yarn and finish off the sleeve caps, and then from there I'll get going on starting up the two front panel pieces for the cardigan. And then once the front panel pieces are done, from there I'll get everything joined up, get it blocked, get it joined together, and then you pick up the collar and the front bands down the front of it. So I'm hoping that the two front pieces won't take too long to do, because they're probably the smallest pieces, because there's a fairly wide there's a fairly wide band going along the front of each side of it. So I'm hoping I can get going on getting the sleeves finished up fairly quickly, and then from there moving on to getting the two front pieces. It's getting a little cooler here now. We're only in the 50 degrees now. The temperature's taken a fairly nice nosedive the last day or so. So we're heading into more fall weather, which makes me very happy. So I will be wanting to get to wearing this cardigan once we're getting into the cooler weather. The third item on my work in progress list, and I hadn't cast it on when I talked to you last week. This third thing I'm working on is my Texture Time Shawl, and this is a pattern by Stephen West, and it's actually his mystery shawl pattern for fall 2018. I'm using yarn that I dyed myself, mostly using yarn that I dyed myself for this. I'll show you the yarn, and before I show you I'll give you a warning when I'm going to show you the progress I've made so far, just in case there's people who are actually slower at knitting this shawl than I am, and they want to keep that remaining a mystery. So I'll show you what yarns I'm using on this individually, and then I'll let you know before I'm going to show the actual work that I'm doing on it, so that in case you do want to keep it a secret, I'm not going to give any spoilers out. So the yarn I'm using, there's a main color, which is this black yarn, or charcoal dark gray kind of yarn that and again, the 4 of the colors are yarns that I dyed myself using Knit Pick Stroll fingering in the Buhr yarn, and then I dyed up 4 of the skeins for myself to use for this. So the main color is this kind of charcoal black color, and then there's 3 contrast colors that are included. So we have the main color plus, it better not fall, the main color plus 4 contrast colors. And they're in a light pink, a light purple, and a light turquoise blue color. In hindsight, now that I'm actually working with this, I'm finding that the distinction between the pink and the purple is not that. They blend together more so than would seem just looking at the 2 of them right here. So they do tend to blend together. In hindsight, I might have switched the order of the colors that I was using and put the turquoise in between, but what's done is done. They're already, I've knit up a fair bit of it already. The other color or the other yarn I'm using for this is a yarn. It's a Super Kid Mohair 75%, 25% silk blend. It's Knit Picks Aloft, and it's a lace weight yarn. And when I started using this, I found that it was just the individual strands, because it's lace weight, were just way too thin. So what I decided to do instead was, now what I'm doing is I just have a little ball left over from another project. But what I'm going to do instead is what I have been doing instead is I'm holding this, it's Knit Picks Buhr Stroll fingering yarn, and I'm holding that, and I'm holding it together with the mohair type blend of yarn. So it brings it up to more of an equivalent thickness as the other yarns I was using. So this is the portion of the yarn, or this yarn gives us the portion of the shawl that has the texture part of it. So again, I have the 4 yarns I dyed myself plus these 2 that I'm holding these 2 doubled together to create the 4th contrast color. So I'm behind. Clue number 1 was released on Thursday night, October 4th. I didn't get it cast on until after the weekend, after last weekend. The second clue came out this past Thursday evening, so it came out on October 11th. So I'm quite a bit behind. I'm only maybe I think probably closer to a third done the first clue, and I've looked at the second clue, but I'm nowhere close to ready to do that. So if you have not started this and you want to keep it a surprise, look away. Stop watching right now. If you're even farther behind than I am, look away. I will let you know once I'm finished showing what progress I've done, and I will also put a timestamp somewhere on the screen. I'll put a timestamp on it when it's safe to look again, in case you're farther behind than I am and you want to keep this a surprise. So here's where I am so far with my Texture Time shawl. So again, it's hard to believe this is going to be a shawl when it grows up. But actually, now that I'm seeing it on the screen, I honestly am loving the color combination. The texture portion is not really coming up that strong. I might, in hindsight, seriously regret doing this. The pattern explains that we'll deal with all these ends later. It's a boatload of ends. I might not be too excited about doing that. So right now I have 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm on 5 of the large little, I don't know, what do you call these things? Yarn over type things, like the big holes in there. But I think the finished clue one has 8 or 10 of the large, these large holes. It'll start increasing a little bit more in the next little while. But for now, this is what I have for clue number 1. These 2 markers are just marking the center of where this opening is, so that I know when I get to the next one, I know what the center stitch was in this little this little portion here. But for now, this is what I have on my Texture Time shawl. I'm enjoying the pattern. It's using a brioche type technique, so it's really nice and squishy. But that's what I have so far with this. So if you were looking away so that you wouldn't see what the shawl looked like in progress, I put it away. You're safe to, oops, you're safe to come back and look again. So those are my 3 work in progress that I have going right now. I really want to cast on a pair of socks. This is, I think, the longest I've gone without having a pair of socks on the needles, and I really want to get back to I want to get started on working on my Christmas socks, and that's going to be using that skein of yarn right there. So I need to get a couple other things off the needles, or at least get something off the needles before I cast on another thing, because as soon as if I cast on a 4th thing, something's going to fall to the wayside. So what I really want to do is I want to finish up the Sockhead Slouch Hat, so that I can have that one done, and then I can have a pair of vanilla socks using that Christmas type of colorway that I dyed myself a little while back. So I want to do probably a vanilla sock with that, so that'll, once my Sockhead Slouch Hat is done, that will become my new mindless project to work on. So that winds up with what I have for works in progress. The vanilla socks in the Christmas type or a holiday type yarn is the next thing in my work in mind list. Otherwise, I'm going to refrain from tempting myself to cast on anything else new until I get something else off the needles. So that's it for that section. The next thing, let me just get some of these guys out of the way. Next thing I want to talk about a bit is, and I think this is going to be a section I'm going to call, oh good grief, now what has she bought? Or something like that. So I have some acquisitions that I've made in the past week. Some are yarn, some are not. But some of the things I bought, I'll start with the yarn. I got an email a little while back that Knit Picks was having a sale, and you're seriously going to think that the only thing I use is Knit Picks yarn, and it's not. It really does seem like the vast majority of what I'm working on right now is with Knit Picks yarn. But anyways, it is a yarn I like. It's budget friendly, and it's nice yarn. I like it. So I ended up buying another thing, work in mind, or a group of work in minds, yeah. Some things that I want to make in the near future are some more colorwork mittens. I signed up last year and again this year with Skein Deer Knits Selbu Mitten Club. So I did the first one last year, and I signed up for the second one this year in 2018. Of all of those patterns, I've so far made one pair of mittens, but I really love the patterns. Motorcycles right on Main Street. At least they're not sirens, but the motorcycles, we can hear them quite clearly when they go driving past. Anyway, rabbit trail. Let's get back to business here. So I ended up buying 8 skeins of yarn on Knit Picks that are most likely all going to go towards making colorwork mittens over the next while. Some of them might end up being Christmas gifts for people. Some I'll keep for me, just because I'm a selfish knitter. But what I bought were 8 skeins of, sorry, I'm just looking down to, again, checking my show notes. I bought 8 skeins of Wool of the Andes sport weight. They're all 100% Peruvian Highland wool. Each skein is 50 grams or 137 yards. And they're all going to, as I mentioned, they're all almost certainly going to end up becoming color work mittens once I get to working with them. So each of them I bought kind of with an eye for a pair of colorwork mittens. So I tended to buy in pairs that I thought would have nice contrast and would make for a nice pair of mittens. So the first 2 I bought were, again, Knit Picks. So Knit Picks Wool of the Andes sport weight, and these first 2 are in the color Ash is the gray, and Mai Tai Heather is the other one. Again, some of them were on sale. The Ash was $1.95 for this skein. The Mai Tai Heather was $1.67. So I'm not sure if you can see the colors listed on here, if the camera focuses properly on this, but there's the first 2. So I think those will make a really nice, a nice pair of mittens with this color combination. I just kind of flung them aside. The second 2 are in the colorway Ash. Again, I thought that was a really nice color. And the other one is Amethyst Heather. So here's the second 2 skeins. So again, Ash and Amethyst Heather. So again, it's a kind of a nice darker purple and a dark gray. So I'm hoping there's enough contrast in these. I think there should be, but this is another, again, hopefully will grow up to be another pair of colorwork mittens. The next, and these ones were both $1.95 each. The next pair are, this guy's coming a little bit, this one's a little bit disheveled. The other next two I bought were in the colorway Blackberry, this is the darker one, and Haze Heather is the second one. And this one is a really, I'm not sure how well it's showing up on here, but it's a really dark plum purpley color. It's a very dark purpley color. And I thought those would make fantastic colorwork mittens as well. And then the fourth pair of yarn, and those, the Blackberry was $1.67, the dark color was $1.67, and the lighter one was $1.95. And the last 2 I got were Saffron and Pumpkin. And these I think look really good together. The Saffron was $1.95, the Pumpkin was $1.67. So this was one of the ones that was on sale. So I think these would look really nice in, I've seen a few patterns. I think Skein Deer has a pattern with pumpkin spice latte pattern. I mean, these are these would look really cool in a pumpkin spice latte, or in that particular pattern. Even though I'm not everyone, I think I might be one of the only people in the world that's not a huge fan of pumpkin spice latte. I think part of it is that I don't like my drinks sweet, and I don't like cream in them. So as you noticed with my tea, whenever I'm showing it, it's black. I don't use cream, I don't use sugar. And so a lot of those fancy coffees and teas and things like that you buy at the different coffee shops, I don't like all the sugar and I don't like the cream in it. So most of them, they really don't appeal to me at all. A few other acquisitions I have, that was the yarn acquisitions, those eight skeins of yarn. The other acquisitions I have, the past couple days, the library, our public library just down the street from where we live, was having a book sale. So my husband went down there yesterday morning. I was off at work. He went down to the book sale to scope it out and see what kind of stuff they had. He ended up saving me a trip. He said that it was all picked over already and they did not have a huge selection. He knows exactly what kind of books I'm interested in. And he said he scoured through there and he said there wasn't really much of anything he thought I would be interested in. So it really wasn't worth making another trip down there another day or later in the day for it. So he did find, of all the books there, he found two that he knew I would like. So he picked them up for me. He spent a total of $3. One of them was $1, the other one was $2. The first one he bought was quite a bit of glare on there, sorry. Quick Knits from Classic Elite Yarns. It was from 2012. Yeah. These cover mittens, I love these. I love the look of these cover mittens. It's a pattern actually by Jared Flood, and they're called Grove Mittens is the name of the pattern. So there's a few patterns in here that appeal to me. They have patterns for hats, mittens, socks, and a few shawls or cowls, things like that. But this pattern is going on my works in mind list. I really, really love that pattern. The back cover, I also like this one. It's a small blanket, or I guess you could refer to it, it's a wrap. It's like a long rectangular, narrow rectangular. Either way, it's kind of like a wrap or a small blanket. I really like the look of that. It's a texture, it's just with not cables. Knit and purl stitches. I didn't mark down the name of that one. Oops, here it is. It's the Forbidden Wrap Blanket. I don't know who's the designer of this one. Hang on just a second. Heather Bagni, Bagni. That's the person who designed this particular wrap, and that's something I think I might attempt that one, because I really do like the look of that as well. So that was one of the books. So he said he found this one for $1. So the other one he picked up for me is it's the Crafter's Devotional. It's by Barbara R. Call. It was published in 2009. So the rest of the title, 365 Days of Tips, Tricks, and Techniques for Unlocking Your Creative Spirit. So it's not really a knit or a crochet book, but it has a lot of different ideas. So they have things on beading, applique, hand carving your own stamps. It just has a whole collection of different things to do throughout the year. So I think this is something that I'm not sure how many things in here I'll actually do or work on, but it's a pretty book, and it'll be one that I think I'm gonna have a lot of fun just looking through it and just looking at the creative ideas that they have in here. So this one, I think he said this was $2 because it's a hardcover, where the other one was either magazine or soft cover. So that was the other book that he found at the only two crafting related books that he found at the book sale that he thought I would be interested in, or basically the only, as he said, they were the only two craft related books there, period. And then the last thing I bought, and I'm not going to open it up yet. I'm saving it for later in the year. But what I got was it's English Tea Shop, and it's the Advent Tea Calendar. So there is 25 different tea bags in here, or not different, sorry, I stand corrected. There's 25, it's like an Advent calendar. It has 25 tea bags, but there are only 13 different flavors. Now, I must admit I was a little bit disappointed. It just arrived yesterday. Just came in the mail yesterday. It came from the UK. It did not say that anywhere in the description when I ordered it on. I ordered it on Amazon. That was a tough sentence to spit out. Anyways, I ordered it from Amazon, and nowhere in the description it said there was 25 tea bags for 25 days. So for each of the days through the Advent season leading up to Christmas, and then for Christmas Day. Nowhere in the description did it say there were duplicate teas, that there were only 13 flavors or 13 types of tea. So I must admit, I think I'm a little bit disappointed with that. I was really hoping to have 25 different teas. It was really what I was expecting, 25 different kinds of tea in here. Any which way, I'll enjoy it. It has some description on the back of all the 13 different teas in there. But I'm saving this to start up and open up and start using on the 1st of December. I'm planning on participating in Vlogmas starting the 1st of December. I found that I've really enjoyed doing Vlogtober. I wasn't sure if I'd be able to keep up the pace, I wasn't sure if I would be able to stick with it for the whole month. Maybe I shouldn't say anything more right yet, because the month is not over yet. We're on the 13th, and I have posted for 13 consecutive days. And my plan is, and I do expect that I'll be able to maintain the pace for the rest of the month, and I should be able to post each and every day through the month of October for Vlogtober. But what I did find with doing this is that I really enjoyed it. I have had a blast coming up with something to post each and every day. So I'm planning right now to participate in Vlogmas, to start up on the 1st of December and go through until Christmas morning. And what I'm planning on doing is I will talk about the particular tea I have. It's going to get repetitive when I go to cycle through the same 13 teas a second time. I probably won't have as much to say about them the second time as the first time, but I do want to spend just a few minutes talking about the different teas that I have in my Advent calendar. I did not yet purchase a yarn Advent calendar. I think that might be kind of fun to do, but they are kind of pricey, so I might not buy my own. I've been kind of thinking in the back of my mind, maybe what I'll do is I will create my own yarn advent calendar, and I'll dye little mini skeins myself, and then I'll have my husband stick them into little packages, and I'll number the packages so I don't know which one I'm getting each particular day. I know what yarns I've dyed myself, but I won't know which one I'm going to get each day. So I'm still thinking about that. I have more fingering weight bare yarn, so I could quite easily between now and the 1st of December create 25 skeins or mini skeins of yarn that I can use. So I am thinking about that, and I probably will keep an eye out, and I'll look around, and I'll probably buy myself an advent calendar with the little chocolates in it, or little candies. Yeah, chocolate. Who am I kidding? I want chocolate. So I'm thinking I might get one of those. So for Vlogmas, I'll open the tea, make myself a cup of tea. I'll talk about it a little bit. I'll show you the candies or whatever else it was I got. And I'm also going to be participating in an Advent scarf pattern. And this is one it's an offshoot of the Sock Madness group. And what one of the people who organizes and runs the Sock Madness group, she creates an Advent calendar pattern each year. She has for several years now. And what she does is each day or each morning she releases a new clue for a scarf, and she has it set up and designed so that it gives people a little opportunity each day leading up to Christmas to have some quiet downtime. She recommends you make yourself a cup of tea or a cup of coffee or a nice beverage of your choice, and sit down for half an hour or more each day. Set aside that little bit of time for yourself each and every day during the Advent season to just have some quiet time for yourself. So I think what I want to do is spend Vlogmas documenting that. So each morning I will have some time to sip my cup of tea, do some knitting, and let you see what it is I'm doing. So that's kind of my plan for Vlogmas. We'll see how that actually all comes together once we get there, but that's the plan for now. So for somebody who commented about joining me for half an hour, I'm up to almost 42 minutes on here, so I think it's time for me to zip it, quit talking, get around to getting some editing done on this, and get this posted up later on today. So anyways, thank you so much for joining me. It's been fun to just sit and chat with you guys for a little while about my knitting and what North Karen bought this week. So that's a new segment that I'm going to, hopefully it won't be a complete regular through the podcast, but yeah, probably. We're starting to recognize a pattern happening here. But anyway, before I keep rambling on for more and more and more time, I'm gonna let you guys go. Hopefully you finished your beverage. I spent so much time talking, I'm only about halfway through my cup of tea. It's getting on 20 after 12. It's time to go and forage up something for lunch, and then I'll get into editing this, and then I'll get back to working on my Texture Time Shawl for a while this afternoon. So anyways, have a fantastic week, everyone. Thanks for spending a bit of time with me, and take care. Catch you guys later. Bye.